Good evening, everyone. I invite Deepa Ma'am to conduct the class.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So, am I audible?
Yeah, it's very feeble, ma'am.
Am I not audible?
You're audible, ma'am, but voice is very low.
Wait. So, just wait for a few minutes. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's better now.
So, yesterday we started with the living world, right? So, does
अरे
anyone...
दीवानी को दो
Yeah.
पढ़ाने वाली
Good afternoon. Good evening. So, does anyone has any doubt from yesterday's class, whatever we taught, whatever we read so far? We did about the taxonomy, we did about the nomenclature, and today we will be starting with what is the use of binomial nomenclature. So binomial nomenclature was actually proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, right? So Carolus Linnaeus was the first person who used this nomenclature system for the first time, and he proposed the scientific name of the plants and the animals. So but we didn't know how to use this binomial nomenclature. So what are the different rules and what are the different what are the different who are the persons who can actually nomenclate, right? So we didn't discuss about that. So Carolus Linnaeus used this nomenclature system for the first time and proposed the scientific name of all the plants and animals. He is the founder of binomial system. So he proposed the scientific name of the plants and animals. Actually, he described plants only in his book, which is the species Plantarum. So till this we have discussed yesterday. So in binomial nomenclature, we know that each organism has two names. One is the generic name and another is the species name. So Magnifera indica. Magnifera is the genus name, indica is the species name. Okay, so that is the common how we see that scientific names are given. So Magnifera, like the Homo sapiens. Homo is the generic name, sapiens is the species name. Homo neanderthals. Homo is the generic name and species is the neanderthals. Okay, so this was what we have discussed yesterday. But who can give the scientific name? Anyone can study, describe, identify, and give the name to an organism, which is provided under the certain rules which are as follows. So if you are a scientist, if you are a zoologist, so you have described a particular organism.
ICBN and ICZN.
Yes, Ifra, you were saying something? Okay, so anyone and any person can give the scientific names, but there has to be the certain...
ICBN and ICZN.
Yes, ICBN, ICZN, then ICVN and ICNB. These are the organizations who actually code. These are the international code for botanical nomenclature. So these are the different codes. So I yesterday told that to accomplish certain rules and regulations, international codes have been made. So scientific names are the names which are given to organism by the biologist based on certain principles. Now, who will make the principle? These principles have been made by ICBN, ICZN, ICBN, and ICNB. Yesterday we read about the codes, but anyone can give the scientific name. If you are a scientist who has discovered a new organism, so obviously you will be giving the name. You will be giving the scientific name and you had to report it to a particular code like ICBN, ICZN, and they will give the accomplishment that yes, you can name this organism this. So yesterday we didn't read about the rules. Today we are learning about the rules. So what are the different rules? So a scientific name generally has two components, means words, which in Latin or derived from the Latin irrespective of their origin. So you have to nomenclate the organism that we have to give the name of the organism only on Latin. Okay, only on the Latin languages. Even if the organism is from Telangana or from Kolkata, still we have to nomenclate the organisms which are Latin. Okay, so it has to be literally Latin. So first word of the biological name denotes the genus name, whereas the second word denotes what the species. Okay, so we already read this, that the Magnifera indica, Magnifera is the genus name.
Ma'am, and the important thing is when the name is handwritten, it should be underlined.
Yes, so those are the different points. We are coming one by one. So actually there are 7 points, okay, 7 rules. And fourth is genus name starts with capital letters, species name is written in small letter. Now remember this, when we are writing the names, we can't write in italics, right? We have a specific font and this font varies from person to person. We can't understand italics. We can't write in italics. For computer, there is a standard font. For phone, there is a standard font. Okay, so when they are being printed, print has a standard font. So there you can change a particular font into italics. So if you are printing it or typing it, then that name should be written in italics. Genus name should be in capital letters, species name should be in small letter. No underline is required. But if you are as a human, as a writing on a piece of paper, the scientific name, then you have to underline it. Like the genus name will start with the capital letter, species name will start with the small letter, and you have to underline them separately. Okay, so genus name starts with capital letter, species name starts with the small letter, and the name of the author is written in an abbreviated form after the species name, and it is printed in Roman. We generally we don't do this, but sometimes we also take this point in consideration. Each taxonomic group can have only one correct name. That means tiger can have only one scientific name. Mango can have only one scientific name. Local names of mangoes can vary, but the original scientific name can be only one. Like we all have only one name, right? But this one name is specific, that it denotes you as a person, but we have a lot of pet names. So that is their local name. And the name should be short, precise, and easy to pronounce. What is short, precise, and easy to pronounce? Now, this is quite a controversial statement because many names, though may be short, but is quite difficult to pronounce because Latin is not our mother tongue. Okay, so this point may be controversial, but up to point 4 and 6 are very important. 5 and 7 are generally not taken into consideration. Okay, Magnifera indica. Magnifera is the genus name. Indica is the species name. Okay. So the term taxon was introduced for the first time by ICBN in 1956. Meyer in 1964 defined taxon as a taxonomic group of any rank that is sufficiently distinct to be worthy of being assigned as a definite category. Okay, so what does it mean that the term taxon was introduced by the first time by ICBN? So bacteriological nomenclature, though that organization actually first introduced the term taxon, they will only just validate you that whether the names that you are giving are valid or not. So Meyer in 1964 Define taxon then. What is taxon? It is a taxonomic group of any rank that is sufficiently distinct to be worthy of being assigned as a definite category. Let's see what does it mean in the extreme details. It actually means that the taxonomic hierarchy. So taxon is the kingdom, phyla, class. We read this, those are the individual taxon, and we read it as kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So we learn in this order. This is the hierarchy. Okay. So the system of arranging organism. In your exam, they may frequently ask you what is taxon. So taxon is the individual taxonomic group of any rank, but the hierarchy is the arrangement. Okay, so hierarchy is the arrangement. So it's the system of arranging organisms in a definite sequence of various taxonomic categories. Actually, it's the system of arranging organism in taxon in a proper descending order, and we call it as the taxonomic hierarchy. So it is also called the Linnean hierarchy, and it was first proposed by Linnaeus, who is the father of systematic botany. So it is very important that Carolus Linnaeus is the father of systematic botany, and the hierarchy includes this. Okay, so kingdom, phyla, class, order, family, genus, and also the species. So kingdom is for animalia, phylum is for the chordata. Mainly division occurs in the plane of, instead of phylum, we write division in case of plants. Okay. Class, mammalia, order, primata. This is for Homo sapiens. Homo sapien is what? Animal, chordate, mammal, primate, hominidae, Homo sapiens. Okay. So Homo neanderthals is just different on the species level. Up to this, Homo neanderthal is same. So from this taxonomical hierarchy, if we know the entire hierarchy of an organism, we can actually know that where these two organisms are being differentiated. If you see the chimpanzee, you can see that the chimpanzee may be different in from the family only. Like they have different genus and species is always different. So that's how much is different of chimpanzee and the human. So in spite of having a 99% similarity of the genes, we are humans and they are chimpanzees. So maybe this account for 99% of the similarity, like they are animals, they are chordates, they are mammalia, they are primates, but maybe they are not hominidae, Homo sapiens. So that is the reason they are quite different. Okay. So now species. Species is something that we basically deal with. So lowest taxon. Okay, so kingdom is the highest, species is the lowest. So lowest taxon or the category in the biological classification is the species. So it is the basic unit of taxonomy is the species, and species is actually group of individuals resembling one another in all major vegetative and reproductive characteristics. But remember, this is not the true definition for species. Many scientists have tried to define species in a different manner. Okay, so some has told that maybe those who look similar, they are species. But imagine if different organisms are living in the same environment, they will look more or less alike. Okay, so humans and chimpanzees look very much alike, but are they of the same species? No, they are not of same species. They almost live in the same environment, but their reproductive characteristics and our reproductive characteristics are also almost of the same kind. We both reproduce by sexual mode of the reproductions, but vegetative methods, chimpanzees also eat fruits and humans also eat fruits. Maybe chimpanzees are not non-vegetarians, they are not omnivorous, but there are certain group of humans who eat only vegetables, right? So we can't categorize those humans as the chimpanzees or the cows because they look alike. No, we can't do. We don't even do, because there is a variation in the species level. So when the two organisms reproduced among themselves to produce a fertile offspring, then only that is a good species. That, like, it is said that those two are of same species. Now you can say that mule is an exception to this definition, that they are being produced from, mule is being produced from two fertilized organism of same species, but mule is not good for reproduction. Mule can't reproduce. So that is the exception to the species. Yesterday we were learning reproduction is one of the category for living organism. Similarly, human couple, for a good, like, normal human couple who can reproduce a baby, but that baby in future cannot reproduce. So it does not mean that they are not species. Obviously they belong to the same species. The mom and dad belong to the same species. But these are the exceptions to the classical definition of the species. Okay. 1964, Ernst Mayr defined species as a group of potentially interbreeding populations that are reproductively isolated from other such groups. What I have said just now, that if two organisms are reproducing among themselves and producing a fertile organism, then they are considered to be as the same species. But obviously, as I said, in bio, nothing is for absolute. That is the reason there are certain exceptions to this also. So the term species was first introduced by John Ray, and it's important because frequently they ask questions. From this chapter, you can expect questions from kingdom, kingdom, that order, that kingdom, phyla, class, order, family, that order you can expect. You can expect question from the full forms, ICBN, ICZN, that, and also you can expect question from scientist name, who is the father of biology, who proposed the binomial nomenclature, like this. These are the most important questions from this chapter. Genus. What is genus? Genus means group of related species. Okay. See, homo species, homo sapiens, homo neanderthals. These are complete different species, but both are homo. Okay. So all species in a genus have common characteristics. Obviously, just look at this slide, that more you reach here, more you reach bottom, the characteristics will be same. But maybe if you are comparing a human with a spider, maybe from the kingdom only they are different. Okay. So that's how the differentiation works. That is why the taxonomical hierarchy is so important. Just if you know these names for two organisms, you can actually differentiate that how much different are these two organisms, and then you can proceed with genetics to understand how different these organisms are. Family is just assemblage of related genera. Okay, hominidae. Okay, so just when you are reading these slides, you can understand genus means related species, family means related genus, order means related family, class means related order. So questions can come like, what is order? Related family or related class? So accordingly, you have to answer. So these are the types of the question you can expect. Sometimes instead of using the word order, they frequently comes with the word cohort. Okay, cohort means order is a group of related families. Always remember, see, whatever it is in the bottom, always remember, so order means group of families. Okay, order does not mean group of classes. Whatever it is in the bottom means the above one is the group of closely related of that. Okay, always try to remember this. Don't have to memorize each and every concept. Okay, So class is several related order having certain common characteristics from a higher category. And one more thing you have to always remember, that whenever you are going up, the common characters decreases, and whenever you are going down, the common characteristics quite increase. Okay. But there is still a great variation from humans to human. That is something we will be dealing in the genetics part, that instead of having everything same, why do humans are same? Because of the certain variation in the genes. Okay. And the environment that we are growing, because environment will trigger certain hormones, and accordingly you will act. That will trigger the cells, and then the genetics will play a role, and accordingly you will be different. So phylum division, phylum is the classes having same feature in common constitutes a phylum. Phylum is used in the case of classification of animal. This is important. Phylum is used in the case of classification of animals. Division is used for plant. Okay, like got it. Kingdom is the highest taxon, and it includes one or more related division or the phyla. Just something which is below the kingdom is phylum. So it is group of related phyla. Plants are put in kingdom Plantae, animals are put in kingdom Animalia. So is this part clear? See, Homo sapiens, Homo, Hominids, primate, mammals, chordates, animals. Okay, animals means organisms moving on their own. Chordate means someone with a backbone. Mammals means with fur and hair and milk glands. Primates means someone with collarbones and grasping fingers. Hominids mean relatively flat faces and three-dimensional vision. Hominids means upright posture and large brains, and Homo sapiens are the height, forehead, and the thin skull bones. Because if you have ever seen the Homo neanderthal and Homo sapiens, the skull, you can see you can see the difference. Okay, you don't have to learn a lot. You can see the difference clearly. These are the terms. Sometimes they may ask or may not ask. This chart is not so important, but if you can remember it, it's good for you. This is very important because magnifera, these are the, it's not possible for us to remember scientific names of every organism. So this is important. Okay. Like mango, Magnifera indica, potato is Solanum tuberosum, nightshade is Solanum nigrum, lion is Panthera leo, tiger is Panthera tigris, and man is Homo sapiens. Okay. So now there is a mistake here, like nigrum should not be written in capital N. Leo should, Tigris should not be written in capital T, and sapiens should not be written in capital S. So is this part clear to everyone? Okay. So this is something you have to remember. This is just taken from your book, which is the NCERT. So man, Homo sapiens, Homo hominidi, primate, animal chordate. Housefly is Musa domestica, Musa muscidae, Diphthera insecta arthropoda, Magnifera indica, Magnifera anacardiaceae, sapindales, dicotyledons, and the angiosperm. And which is the wheat, it is the Triticum aestivum, Triticum posi, poales, monocotyledoni, and angiospermi. Okay, so these are the names you have to remember. Okay, so what are the taxonomical aids? Like, why are they needed? Because taxonomy work, they involve lab also, they involve field also, because you can't be developing an organism in lab, right? You have to make a certain organism and to have to discover them. We can't make an organism, we can't make a chimera or unless and until we are just fusing two organisms like a mad scientist to see what they are up to. But So the taxonomy actually requires both laboratory and the field. Why lab is needed? You can just take an organism and name them. No, because you have to study the characteristics. You have to study its genetics before naming that organism. You can't just take an organism and say, okay, it looks like a cockroach, so it will be in the arthropoda group. Maybe it looks like cockroaches, but it has characteristics which is very similar to a chimpanzee. Okay, so maybe I'm just citing an example for this. It's not true, but so you need to study the genetics in detail in proper manner before actually nomenclating the organism. So taxonomical aids are required. So these studies are essential for knowing our bioresources and biodiversity. Taxonomists have developed different types of taxonomic aids to help in identification, nomenclature, and the classification, like herbaria, botanical gardens, museum, zoological parks, and keys. Now, what is a herbarian? So process is required because they can just jumble up the process and can ask you what is the correct order for herbarium process. So it's the depository of the plant species in the dry condition, and the specimens are dried, mounted on a paper and properly labeled. So you have to first collect the species, then you have to dry them so that it does not have any water. You can sterilize them so that fungi don't grow. Then you have to stick that page, stick that leaf or something onto a sheet. Then labeling is done, like local name, common English name, binomial nomenclature, family name, places of collection, date and time of collection, and the collector's name. Okay, so these are the basic procedures for herbarium. So this is the one of the main procedure that even botanical students do in just order to remember the plant or the specimen they have collected. And then you can store this herbarium. So these are the pictures for the herbarium, and this picture is actually giving the information. Okay, so for the labeling, you have to write the scientific name, the author's name, the local name, name of the family, locality, when did you collect it, and name of the collector. So these are the points which have already been included in NCERT books. Okay, so don't forget what you have to do for labeling in a herbarium: scientific name, author's name, local name, family name, locality name, date of collection, and the collector name. Okay, and bottom right hand of the corner, not in the left hand corner. It should always be written in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so information about the collected species is published in the form of a book called Flora. Okay, so it gives a list of the total plant species, like you work in a particular library. So there a tourist came to you and asked, so what are the different types of plant growing in this region? So you just hand him the flora. Okay, so that is the basic importance for flora. So some important floras of India are floras of British India, flora of Delhi, flora of Madras, and flora of Travancore. Okay. And the largest herbarium in the world is the Royal Botanical Garden at Kew in England. These are the stuffs you have to remember, because these questions frequently come, that what is the herbarium of the Royal Botanical Garden, where it is located, which is the largest, and so on. And the largest herbarium in India is the Central National Herbarium in the Indian Botanical Garden at Kolkata, which is established in 1787. Now, whether they are asking you for the world or in India, you have to see and then answer. If they are asking you for the world, it is in England. If it is asking you in India, it is in Kolkata. Okay. So what is the botanical garden? Well, botanical garden is something that has the plant species from every corners of the world, almost. Okay. And plant species in the botanical garden, why are this present? They are present for as they are grown for identification purpose. Because in olden days there were no such things like Google. Today you can just see a plant, you can scan with Google, and obviously you can know that okay, so this plant is this. Google can help you. So botanical garden may seem useless in today's world, but in think of those time, there were actually the gardens which are grown for identification. Each plant is labeled with its botanical name and its family, and not merely a garden but a botanical institution. Over 600 botanical gardens are there in the world. This information is again important. How many botanical gardens in the world are present? It is actually 600. And this is the Hanging Garden of Babylon, which is considered as the wonders of the ancient world. But again, it is not being sure that whether it exists or not. Like Hanging Garden or Babylon is real or is it fake is still not very known or not known for sure. Okay. So this is just the pictorial depiction. And the largest botanical garden is the Royal Botanical Garden at Kew, and it is called the botanical capital of the world. Bentham and Hooker were associated with this garden. Names are important. And the largest, this is in Kolkata. It is in Howrah in Kolkata, and it is in India. It is the Indian Botanical Garden. And this looks something like this. So compared to this, England one looks more preserved. Okay. So this is this is something which is present in Tiruvananthapuram in Kerala, and this is the tropical botanical garden. Okay, so what names they are asking? Please just focus on that. If they are asking about the this thing, you should be mentioning the what I will say. If they are asking you about the tropical botanical garden, it is in Tiruvananthapuram, Kerala. If it is asking you about the Royal Botanical Garden, it will be in the Kolkata. Okay, so you have to know what they are asking. Just wait for once. Coming to museums now. So museums are actually the institutions where artistic and educational plants have been placed. Okay, so we all know the museum and we have even visited a museum, and this is the picture which is taken from the Indian Museum, which is placed in Kolkata, and all the colleges maintain the museum in botany and the zoology department. If you notice, it's well that if you when you are growing up, if you just take a zoology honors or botany honors, then you can see your colleges will have a mini museum. So this mini museum is something which is done by the students in the form of projects, and their students just it looks beautiful. Okay, so the birds, mammals are, these are not the real birds or the mammals, but maybe the skin of this kangaroo is taken from the actual animal, and the skeleton, and over the skeleton they have just pasted it and made it look like an original kangaroo or a bird and so on. So animal skeletons are also kept in the museum, but actually these are the dummies. Okay, in Kolkata, in Indian Museum, these are actually the dummies. Uh, but yeah, there are also skeletons. Different skeletons are also present in the museum. Okay. So these are something you have to remember. Apart from this, these are something, the insects are being preserved. If any one of you is interested in killing the insect and preserving them, surely you can go for it. So what are keys? Key is something you don't know. Key means by which each species in an organism may be identified. So it is prepared by a taxonomist to help the biologists to identify the species. So what are the taxonomic keys? These are actually based on contrasting characters. These characters in pair are called couplets. So what are keys and what are couplets? So key may be of two types, intended and the bracketed. So actually what is key is that you can see from here that if a key provides sequence of choices between two or more statement of characters of species, it is called an intended key. And each statement is a leaf. And if the pair of contrasting characters are not repeated by subdividing the character and each character is given in a number in a bracket, it is the bracketed key. See this? See. Dry skin, yes or no? If it is yes, sorry for the interruption. So if it is yes, dry skin, yes or no. So yes is hair, and if it has hair, now opposable thumbs are present or no. No or yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the bracketed keys. Okay, so numbers are present and this represents the brackets. So bipedal, yes or no. Okay, so these are the certain terms like dry skin, hair. These are the intended keys. Okay, so is this part clear? So what are the keys? Keys are actually the terms which are actually being used by the different groups of organisms which are being used to identify a specific group of organisms. Now, if a key provides sequence of choices between two or more statements, it is the intended key, like this. Dry skin, present on, intended key. 1, 2, 3, 4, these are written, these are the bracketed keys. So next comes the zoological parks. Zoological parks are the places where animals are kept in protected environment under human care. This enable us to learn about their food habits. The largest zoo is in South Africa and the largest zoo in India is in Kolkata. Again, the same thing. If they are asking you about the whole world, it is in South Africa. Like that botanical garden was in India. But if they are asking you about India, it is in Kolkata. Okay, so zoological parks are what? These organisms have been taken and they have been decided to keep under human care. But obviously, we know that in zoos, how the organisms are being ill-treated. So flora, manuals, monographs, catalogs. So these are other taxonomical aids which are not very much in common. So flora is basically a book type, manual type. Monographs, catalogs. So catalogs and flora, you can find it similar. So flora is the actual account of that habitat. Like suppose you live in Kerala in a particular place, the flora of your locality will actually tell you that what are the different species, what are the different organisms that are actually present there. Okay. And apart from this, these contain the actual account of the habitat and the distribution of the plant species of a given area. So this contain the actual account of the habitat and distribution of plant species of a given area, and it provides the index to plant occurring in the particular area. Like Hooker compiled first complete flora of India. So this is something you can see. I don't know if it is available on Amazon or not, but Hooker was the person who just gave the idea, and it actually describes the flora of entire India, like where the flowers are born, how to take care of the flower, when the flower is being growing beautifully, when it is not, and so on. So monogram is the handbook. It gives you idea about only one taxon, only one family or one genus. Okay, so respect to plants only, you can't expect it for animals, but it's generally for the plants. Generally, I'm saying, but there are certain monographs for different animals also. Other taxonomic aids are the manuals. Like this provides information for identification of names of species occurring in an area and they are correct. identification. Acha. So that's all for the entire chapter for the living world. So next class we will be starting with biological classification, which is the Monera, Protista. Whatever is included in the botany will be covered by me, and the notes will be sent by you accordingly. So in this chapter, we have learned what we have learned about the organisms exhibiting metabolism, cellular organization, homeostasis, growth, reproduction, development, responsiveness, and other characters for living organism. Growth is an irreversible increase in the mass of an organism. Systematics deal with identification, nomenclature, classification. Identification is to determine the exact place or the position. Next, classification we have learned, nomenclature we have learned, binomial nomenclature we have learned. Binomial nomenclature was proposed by Linnaeus. Then we have learned about the taxon and the taxonomic categories, which are phylum, division, class, order, family, genus, species. And we have learned about different taxonomical aids, among them herbarium, museum, botanical gardens, zoological parks are the most important. And lastly, we have learned about key. Apart from this, we have seen what? We have seen about different monologues and other stuffs. Okay. So is this entire chapter clear, or is there anything, any doubts you want to ask me? You can just ask. Okay, so apart from this, I will be also providing a short summary note. The summary note will contain the exact key points. Okay, the summary note will have the exact key points that you need to remember. Means you can forget certain things from here, but you can't ignore the summary note, because summary note contains the exact things you need to remember and remember. Because if you forget the summary note, then it will be quite a difficult, because that's the exact gist. This is the broader perspective to explain to you what is the living world, why the living world is being studied. And I know it's just a very much complicated chapter, and not complicated chapter, it is a chapter where we do need to learn a lot, memorize a lot. So short summary chapter will actually help you to remember actually what is being needed. So you don't need to remember the before your exam, you don't need to make those things, but I will be providing to you. Apart from this, 10 more minutes are left. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Is there any doubts or anything?
No, ma'am, it's all clear.
It's all
Ma'am,
clear.
can I get the MCQs from
Yeah,
this
I will be
chapter for
sending
practice?
yeah, say once more.
From this chapter, can I get some MCQs for practice or
Yes, I will
BYQs
be giving
also?
some MCQs today. By today night, I will be calling it as a daily practice problem. I was just expecting you to complete this chapter. Okay. So
Okay,
now
ma'am.
we have completed the chapter. In the MCQ, just remember that there may be certain things you can't answer. Okay, so after reading
Yes, ma'am.
this, yeah, so
Practicing
after
MCQs is a good way.
reading the summary note and doing that MCQ, you will, how you will revise? You will revise just like reading the summary note in extreme detail, and then you will be seeing only those MCQs for the next time which you could not answer, because the things which you could answer already are the things that which are already included in your notes. Okay, so just read like this. For the next time, don't read the entire MCQ portion. These MCQs are actually some previous year questions and some questions which are being actually, I thought may or may not come. So that is the thing. Okay. Is this part clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one more thing, since you are students of quite higher classes, I can expect you all to be honest with yourself. Like I will be providing the answer key for each of the question just after the questions. There will be 6 pages. Yes, not 6 pages. Actually, there will be 4 pages of MCQs. Okay, I have provided, I could find 45 questions from this chapter and I have just included here. So for this 45 questions, below each page, there is the answer key given. After completing each page, just see that whether how many answers you are getting right or wrong. Okay, so answers you are getting right, it's fine. Some questions I know that they are maybe problematic because those are the things I have not clearly mentioned in the notes, but I have explained to you. So for those questions, I have given the solutions, like why I have marked that answer to be correct at the last. So hopefully that will be clear to you after solving. Okay. I hope today is Thursday. By Monday, you will get confidence for this chapter if you follow this after today's. Today night, I will be sending sir and sir will be providing you there. Okay.
Okay,
So,
ma'am.
okay. So I have just stopping to share. So, anyone, any doubt anymore? Okay, so since no one has any doubt, so okay, I will. Okay, so Arun sir, this is all from my end, and since students don't have any doubts, I hope this is from my end for this chapter, from my part. Hello, hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Not if I'm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So can I leave?
Yes, ma'am. Are you done with the class, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, students.
I
So again, we'll meet tomorrow morning 5 o'clock. Okay. So we'll meet again tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. You can end this session, sir.